What's up, KGS Headmaster here, and welcome to Movie Monday. On this week's theme of, I teased you on Friday, I said I didn't know what it was going to be. I had something in mind, but I wasn't quite sure. I think with the fact it's VE Day anniversary on Friday, the 8th of May, we've got a bank holiday, so we've got a 4-day week. I think there's only one theme really, which is the whole VE celebrations, World War II. I think we've got to go with that as our theme. I don't know whether it's the VE theme or the World War II theme or that kind of celebration of coming out of a time of unbelievable duress, which is not entirely dissimilar, although people will be drawing probably lots of comparisons this week that we won't be comfortable with between kind of coronavirus lockdown and World War II. I think the two are very, very different for lots of reasons. But let's have that as our theme. Let's call it the VE World War II theme this week. Let's kick off with some shout-outs. Happy birthdays to second years. Got Tom and Despina in the second year. Many happy returns to you. And two big 18s in the upper six. So we got Charlie and Jacob. Many happy returns to you two for the big 1-8. So hope you all have a great day. Hope you have a wonderful day with your families despite the lockdown. Hope you get to touch base with all your friends. And I'm sure they'll want to wish you happy birthday. And as ever, I hope that your birthdays bring you everything that your hearts desire. As does today. Hopefully last week worked for you in terms of learning and engagement, and you got your exercise, you looked after yourself mentally and physically, as well as engaging in everything you could. Don't forget to register, please. Long list of people who don't register every day. Actually, it's not a long list. It's a really small list, but it looks long to me because it's more people than I'd like. So please make sure you register, and if you can't register for any reason, email somebody to let them know. And if you're not going to be available that day, then equally just email, let us know so we know that you're all well. The main point here is that we want to know that you guys are okay. So make sure you kind of check in with us. So it's Movie Monday on the theme of VE Day World War II. And we've got a kind of a 4-day weekend, so we've got to cram a lot into 4 days before we hit Bank Holiday Friday, the kind of big celebrations, or not, as the case may be. I'm sure we'll all get the bunting out and have cream teas, but we just won't be doing the kind of street parties and all that kind of stuff that was probably planned in the first place. So I'm going to go for my top 5 World War II movies, and I've tried to think of them as movies from different eras, different theatres of war, different places. There's lots I could have chosen. So number 5, lots of great films about the kind of Russian kind of effort, the Eastern Front. But I've gone for Enemy at the Gates, which I think is an all-time classic that if you haven't seen is worth looking at. Number 4, I nearly went for Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, David Bowie. I think that's a great movie, one of my really big favourite films when I was younger, growing up. But actually, I think it gets really well pipped by Empire of the Sun. J.G. Ballard novel, so I'm not going to include that in my books, my literary on Wednesday. I've gone for the movie version. I think they're both great, but I wanted to include the movie here. There's some I'm reserving for Wednesday. Number 3, I've mentioned this film before, Fury. I think it's a great modern, looks at the American kind of tank battles, tank commanders during the war. He could have gone for Battle of the Bulge, could have gone for lots of different things here. I was tempted to throw in Dam Busters, dare I say it, because the screenplay for that was written by our very own R.C. Sheriff, so that nearly made an appearance. There's lots of great British war movies. Ice Cold in Alex, there's a kind of loads of them that we've all enjoyed. The Cruel Sea, but actually Fury made it into number 3, and number 2 for the British movies. I went a bridge too far because I mentioned before about that huge cast of great British and American stars. It's just full everywhere you turn. There's another person thinking, he's in it, and he's in it, and she's in it, and he's in it, and da-da-da-da-da. But number 1, I think it's probably the longest, or one of the longest. I think it's one of the most touching, one of the most endearing, one of the most important movies about the events of World War II. I've gone Schindler's List. I think it's really important to focus on some of the tragic elements. Obviously, the Holocaust being the most tragic, but not the singular kind of tragedy of World War II. Lots of tragedies, and so I suppose that's to remind us that when we're celebrating VE Day, we're celebrating it because it was coming out of that storm, that terrible period of time that everyone had existed in, total war. For a number of years, and different countries around the world, different periods of time. Some were well into it well before 39. Britain obviously goes in 1939. Lots of countries didn't join until 40-41. But whether it was a period of months or a period of years, it was a terrible time. And so it's celebrating coming out of that victory in Europe. And speaking of that terrible time and coming through there, my quote today comes from Winston Churchill. I'm not going to have all Churchillian quotes, and I'm not even going to go for his most famous quote. We're certainly not going to fight them on the beaches and try and draw, as I said, comparisons with where we are today. I'm going to go for his quote that said, "I never worry about action, only inaction." Now, and I've known someone who likes to ponder things sometimes, and I think to kind of think about things kind of overnight and so, but I always believe that taking an action, even if it's not absolutely the right action, is sometimes better than doing nothing. And I think you guys would agree with me, because looking at the number of actions that you guys have taken in your response to the current lockdown pandemic crisis, you're out there, you're doing things, you are being positive, you're doing what you can within the confines of where we are, that I think we'd all agree that we should never worry about action, only inaction. Have a wonderful day. Look forward to catching up with you again soon. Headmaster out.